All right, hi everybody, John Meadows back here, and today's topic is what you should eat before, during, and after training. So if that interests you, if you want to have the best possible workouts and recovery, stay tuned. All right, so thanks for watching everyone, and today's topic is what should you be eating before, during, and after you train? So I want to cover that. It's a question I get a lot. There's a lot of debate over, high carbs before training or training fasted and eating them all after training. So I'm going to give you the approach that I use with most people. Of course, we're all a little different, so I'll give you some kind of alternative approaches as well. But the number one approach I use is the pre-workout meal is usually 30 to 60 minutes, sometimes maybe 90 minutes before you train, and it's not a big one. A lot of people like to have a really big meal, and that just worries me. I'm afraid there's a lot of digestion taking place while you're training, and you don't want all your blood to be in your digestive system. You want it in your muscle. You want to get good pumps. So number one, the meal is usually pretty small. Now, in terms of the timing, the faster acting the food, or the easier it is to digest, then the closer you can have to the workout. So in other words, you may not want to have a steak 30 minutes before you work out. You may feel bogged down, but you might want to have one, say, 90 minutes before you work out. So depending on the type of food, that's going to give you the play between, like, I'd say 30 and 90 minutes before you train. Now, how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat? Another one, there's a lot of debate over this. So for the protein, I believe it or not, I don't go real heavy with it. Again, it's just in the context of a smaller meal. I might have a guy eat, say, 30 grams of protein, and I might have a woman have 20 grams. There is a little bit of variance with that depending on their size and their caloric needs and so forth, but it's not a big amount. It's just kind of a moderate amount. The same thing also applies for carbohydrates. So I know a lot of people like to have 80, 100, 120 grams of carbs before they train. That's a little high for my taste, and I don't think you really need that much. My goal personally with the carbohydrates, it is to give you an energy source, but it's more to just kind of start to raise your insulin levels. If you listened to my videos before, you know that I like promoting a steady insulin release while you train, because that helps reduce muscle protein breakdown big time. And that's been measured through 3-methylhistidine and other markers. It's absolutely a fact. So insulin response is very important, in my opinion, to help with that muscle protein breakdown. When you lessen that, you increases your chances of being anabolic. So carbohydrates, 30 to 40 grams for a guy, 20, 25 grams for a woman is kind of my standard. Now the third thing, fat. This is where people are scared to death to have fat with carbohydrates. They think, well, carbohydrates are going to stimulate insulin, and then if I have fat in my blood, it's all going to get driven into fat cells. Well, let me ask you a question. If you had a meal that had carbs and fats in it, but if you were still in a 500 calorie caloric deficit for the day, do you think you would gain fat? The answer is obviously no. People just worry way too much about combining carbs and fats. Just be reasonable about it. Don't have 100 grams of carbs and 50 grams of fat. That's just a little crazy. But just be reasonable about it. In the big picture, it's your total calories that are going to count the most. So fat, do I put any in there or not? I do. I like to put about 10 grams of fat in the meal, which if the person is eating like meat, that might cover it. Or if they're eating a lean source, like say a lean whitefish, I might add a little maybe avocado, or if they're drinking a protein shake, I might maybe add a tablespoon of almond butter or something like that. But about 10 grams, and about half of that for females. So about 5 or 6 grams. Now there's another reason why I do that. The insulin release that you get, you want to be slow and steady. And fat slows down how quickly glucose can get into your bloodstream. So if glucose just rushes into your bloodstream, you eat a lot of carbs and no fat, your pancreas is going to dump a bunch of insulin. That makes your blood sugar, it'll go up, and then your pancreas will dump a bunch of blood sugar, and it'll come crashing down. And there's a lot of people I know that have went hypo during their workouts with that high carb, low fat approach. And when I bring their carbs down, I give them a little fat, it cures it every single time. So again, just to reiterate, that fat will actually slow down how quickly glucose is getting into the bloodstream, which manages the insulin dump from your pancreas. So if you do that, you've got your insulin kicked off, and it's nice and steady. So then what do you do intra-workout? Now there's a lot of people that say you don't want anything but water because you don't want to be digesting anything. And I do agree with that. I would not want somebody to open up their Tupperware and have some chicken in between their sets on the bench press. But I will tell you this, the things that I recommend, which are essential amino acids, and the carbohydrate that I really like is cluster dextrin. Those are basically already digested. They provide no digestive stress at all. It hits your stomach, boom, it hits your bloodstream very, very fast. The product that I like the most for this is actually right here. It's Recovery Factor. And it has all the essential amino acids in it so that you can actually build muscle, whereas BCAAs don't have all the needed aminos. And this also has electrolytes to keep you hydrated, and also has the cluster dextrin. Cluster dextrin is a really cool carbohydrate because it doesn't promote a big insulin spike like, say, maltodextrin or a lot of dextrose. It continues to maintain that nice, steady insulin level. And that's great because, again, it's almost like a drip feed of insulin. It's like an IV drip feed. So you're going to be able to recover faster. And the other thing is the carbohydrates absorb so quickly and so well. You'll notice you'll get better pumps. You'll notice that you don't gas out after 45 or 50 minutes. Your energy levels are maintained. A lot of people ask a very good question. They say, well, the food's already in you, so how does this? You already have the substrate available. And what I've found through the years is, no matter how much food I had beforehand, the recovery piece was always limited. It wasn't until I added these nutrients, the essential aminos and cluster dextrin, that went right into my blood and into my muscle, that I really saw the big improvement in recovery. So what do you do after you train? The popular thing is to drink a protein shake and use a real fast-acting source of carbohydrates so you replenish glycogen. Now, in the model I've described to you, you've already done that. You've already, as you were training, put aminos in your body. You've already put carbs in your body. You've already started that process, the recovery process. So if you want to have a protein shake when you're done, by all means do it. But I don't think it's as critical in this model. I tell people just go home, relax, and then have a good balanced meal. It might be some lean steak and rice. It might be a protein shake and oatmeal, chicken and rice, or chicken and sweet potato, whatever. A lot of people have cereal. Sometimes I have cereal. I have a protein shake and some cereal as well. But my point is you don't really need to be in this big rush if you've used this approach. Now, not everybody's in a situation that allows them to do that. Sometimes people have to get up really, really early in the morning, and I've been there, and maybe you're just not motivated to make a meal and eat in the morning, let alone get up and eat 60 minutes before you train. So there's another cool thing you can do, and that's just make sure the night before your dinner is pretty big. So make sure you're providing a lot of protein, carbs, and fat in your dinner, and as you're sleeping, you're not burning it off, kind of my layman's terms. So it'll be available when you train in the morning. So you can essentially not eat your breakfast. I would still prepare the intra-workout drink though, and I would still consume that as you train. And then after that, the post-workout meal, it's still, in my opinion, not critical to timing because you've met that need with the intra-workout drink. Now, what about people who sometimes there's people who just don't handle liquid well when they train, and they don't want any food in their body. They want to train totally fasted. If you're one of those people, then the post-workout meal takes on a whole different level of significance. Now I believe that when you hit that last set, I believe you do want to hit a protein shake, you do want some rapid-acting carbs, you do want to pay attention to the timing. A lot of people like to laugh and say that window is not important, but it actually is if you're training fasted. You need to replenish nutrients very quickly. Your protein synthesis will be elevated for a while, it may be 24 to 48 hours. However, you will notice that when you can do an example if you don't believe me. Train really hard and then don't eat for like 6 hours. And then train really hard and use intra-workout, or not even intra, post, but play around with nutrients. and you will see the difference in your recovery. You'll feel the difference. So if you are one of those people that has to train fasted, make sure you do knock down a protein shake and some rapid acting carbs. If you're not fasted, follow the other two approaches I laid out. But those, I believe, are very good approaches to what you do before, after you trained. So that's it. Hopefully you like this video and you get something out of it. Please comment below and share it if you like it. Thanks again for watching.